We continue with you here on Game Time. More getting ready for Game 5. Dave McMenamin from ESPN, kind enough to join us in Boston. Dave, I said I opened the show, home has not only been where the heart is, but where all the good play has been so far. How does Ty Lue feel that the Cavs need to buck that trend? What's the most important thing that's got to happen tonight?
Most important thing, take care of the basketball. Ty Lue said pregame tonight that if they have 19 turnovers like they did in Game 4, they're going to really be putting themselves behind the eight ball in terms of having a chance to potentially win. I mean, the Cavs obviously, at home court when they had the fans behind them, you could overcome those miscues. But in this arena where the crowd is crazy and there's those young athletes on the Celtics side, you're really going to be putting yourself in a tough position if LeBron in particular has those 7 turnovers like he had in Game 4.
Dave, for most playoff teams, the more they adjust, the more they want to get back to what they know best, and Cleveland's certainly similar, playing the two bigs together now with Tristan and Kevin. How is Brad looking at countering that in a way that he hasn't to this point?
Well, of course, Griff, Brad was the cat that ate the canary pregame, very coy, would not tell us what his lineup change is going to be, but obviously he has all those bigs that he can go to between Morris and Baines and Horford, Ojale right on down the line. You imagine that he has gone big on big, but that's allowed Larry Nance Jr. to enter into this series and become an effective force these last couple games. We'll see if the counter is to go small and force the Cavs to perhaps rely on some of their wings that haven't seen playing time recently in the series, a guy like Rodney Hood.
Dave, one of the many things I've marveled at watching LeBron here in year 15 in the playoffs is he finds out what version of himself, of the 18 selves, he's going to be that night that is best suited for the team and executes it. So do you expect the guy who comes out aggressive trying to score early, or who's making more of an effort to try and get those others more confident here on the road?
Yeah, maybe not 21 points in the first quarter like he had Game 2 at the TD Garden, but I certainly would expect an aggressive LeBron because he does recognize that if they fall down double-digit points here, this crowd will run with it. They're going to get behind the Cavs, and then it's just harder to execute when this place gets as loud as it does. The Cavs said they were not communicating effectively on defense in Games 3 and 4, in Games 1 and 2, and part of that was because they couldn't really hear. So I expect LeBron to come out in a tone-setting mode. Again, maybe not taking every shot like he seemed to do in Game 2, but certainly more of a scorer mentality than a distributor mentality in the first quarter.
Going back to your first point about the lack of turnovers, the other thing that you noticed difference from the first 2 games to the last 2, those 50-50 balls, it seemed like Marcus Smart was everywhere in the first 2 games, getting everything, and we've seen a lot more effort on that side of it from the Cavaliers at home the last 2 games. How important does that effort become now on the road if they're going to try and steal one in Boston?
Yeah, absolutely. They can't hang their heads if they're missing shots and waste defensive possessions without giving the requisite effort. I understand they only shot 25% from 3 in Games 1 and 2 here, and it's human nature to have that carry over into the next possession. But if they do that, they will not win this game. It's pretty simple, especially when guys on Boston like Marcus Morris, like Marcus Smart, always seem to give that multiple effort on the defensive end and make the job hard on the Cavs regardless if their shots are falling or not. Marcus Smart only shot 4 for 17 in Games 3 and 4. Did you see that affect his defensive effort? I don't think so. And so the Cavs would be certainly better served adopting a page of that mentality from Marcus Smart and the Celtics and applying it to Game 5.
Dave, always appreciate it. Enjoy it. It should be an unbelievable atmosphere. It'll be a lot better for you than anybody through the TV, so enjoy it, okay?
All right, great to talk to you guys.
All right, take it easy there. Great job. As always, Dave McMenamin, ESPN, joining us. Here are the others. And the vets, they have stepped up. And you got to start, I think, with Tristan Thompson, because in really the last 2 series, you can make a case, Smitty, that every time that he plays well, they win. And every time that he disappears or they don't utilize him, they lose.
Well, I think right now this is a better suited fit series for him. I think he gets a chance to bang with Al Horford. I think this suits him. I'm okay with Tristan Thompson. I'm okay with Kevin Love in this game. I'm really worried about Kyle Korver and Jay.
Question, always chasing whomever down. And even in a player, remember, reminiscent in game number 4, everybody's running down the floor the other way, Griff, and he tips it to the point where they end up getting the ball back just because of his effort. The others always seem to play better on the road. We know that. Look at the supporting cast for me and kind of pinpoint who's the X factor here for Cleveland. What do you see?
Well, I think Kyle Korver, to Smitty's point, is going to be really important. Dave McMenamin mentioned something about, Marcus Smart's going to bring intensity all the time.
Yes.
He can go 4-17. It doesn't change his intensity level. Kyle Korver's going to be in the right place defensively all the time. He's an incredibly cerebral player. He's going to generate offense for them simply by virtue of the fact that they have to pay attention to him. So he enables them to create triggers in the defense, and Kyle's going to know what to do with those. But I think, to your point about Tristan, the reason he's so important, and I think Larry Nance is becoming more important as well, because unlike Houston, Cleveland doesn't have a great number of pit bulls in that locker room, and those guys have that energy level. And so in aggregate, they can kind of get to a point where they can match Boston's intensity, but it starts with Tristan Thompson having the ability to be as versatile as he is.
All right, we got more coming up. Did you notice there was a pretty good game last night?